Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to replace the boot and the shifting knob on a 7th generation Honda Civic, which is 2001 to 2005. So the first things, we're going to need to have a couple of tools. You want a flathead screwdriver and a Phillips head screwdriver and a pair of needle nose pliers. Then we're going to have to replace this. We're going to have to remove this center column here. This whole unit is going to have to come out in order to be able to remove the piece here that the boot is attached to, in order to pull that out and replace that. So first thing we want to do is take the shifting knob off. Most of them will just screw off. This has been replaced before, but it's a universally mounted one, so it's got a cheap, this just slides off, and then you can unscrew this little piece here, but most of them will just screw off. You can see the threads there on the shifter. So the first thing we're gonna have to do is to start removing this center column. There's normally clips, little clips right here that they look like this. And what you want to do is press on the center of this right here with very gently with a screwdriver or anything that you can use to just press on it gently, and that'll just pop. These will just pop right out, and then you can pull them out. So there's one on both sides of this center column here. Then you can see I have the seat laid all the way back. Right now you would want to slide this all the way forward. Now, there's also 2 screws on either side of the back end of the column behind the seat. So you want that seat slid forward so you can get to it easily. And that requires your Phillips head screwdriver. Just unscrew those and you're good to go. Now we're gonna want the seat all the way back, like I had it before. In order to pop, this center column is broken up into 2 main pieces. The rear piece here, there's a line, you can see it right here, right behind the boot. That marks the 2 different sections. So we want to actually remove this piece just like that. It just pulls up, and then you can just pull it out, up and over your e-brake. Set that out of the way. Now there's 2 screws that you can see. The one right there I've already removed, and the other one I've already removed also, but you can see the 2 screws. You have to take those out in order to remove the front piece, and the rest of the unit is all going to come out as one whole piece. Okay, so we take that screw out. And now this whole center column is going to pull out. Okay, so you should have your whole center unit like this, and that's what you want. Now we're going to flip this over. Now underneath here, you can see the underside of the boot. There is 6 screws that hold the centerpiece with the boot in place. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you want to remove those 6 screws, and then the centerpiece will pull out, and it'll look like this. Okay, once you have that centerpiece out, we want to remove this silver piece here, and the way that you would do that, it's just clipped in there on the underside, but there's a screw, only one screw holds it in, and it's right here on the back side of the boot. So you would take that out, and then that just, you can pop up. Okay, now the only thing holding the boot on is staples. It's stapled around on the inner part there, so you want to use your needle nose pliers or a flathead screwdriver, or both, in order to remove the staples. And once you have that out, you can pull the boot out and install the new boot, which you're going to need some staples or staple gun, something to fasten the new boot to the plastic unit. Okay, so you can see that I have here the boot is the new boot is installed, and I have the metallic or silver plastic piece, the trim piece, installed back on the center console, that plastic piece that holds the boot. Alright, I don't have the underside. My boot is actually felt, so I couldn't get staples to go through it, but the plastic piece holds it in there tight enough that I'm not concerned about the boot coming back out. But if you can, definitely try and use staples to hold that in there. The original boot looks like this. You can see it's got tabs, these tabs, you know, that were used to hold it in place. Now, in order to get this boot to fit, most boots are going to come with a flat bottom. They're not going to have these tabs cut out. This was kind of tricky because you got to line up the fitment of the boot, and you actually have to cut those tabs out of the boot in order to get it to fit. So do your best with that. My advice is to actually sit down. I was very precise and measured, and made a drawing of these tabs on the new boot, and then made my cuts for where the tab should be, and it fits pretty good. So now all we have to do is install there's one screw here that I didn't put in on the back side, remember, of the boot, that holds that silver plastic trim piece in place. And then we have the 6 screws that attach this plastic unit to the center console. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. Alright, so you can see we got that, the boot and the plastic unit back into the center console. And now what we have to do is put the center console back in the car. Okay, so you want to make sure before you go to put this center console back in, want to make sure the seat is slid all the way back and reclined all the way back so that you can get it over the e-brake, and that the seat doesn't interfere, and get it back into place. So it just slides over kind of like that. Slide that into place all the way. Now remember, we have to put in these 2 screws that we took out in order to hold it in place. Okay, so once you got those screws set in, you have something that looks like this. You can see the screws are in place. Now we got to put the rear tray back in its place. Just slide it over the e-brake, it just snaps in place. So and there you have it, the center console's back together. Now all that's left are these screws right here. The plastic piece should be on the outside like that. These little screws here have to go back in there. And then remember the plastic piece which is on the front of the of that center console. So in order to do these, have the seat slid all the way back, and in order to do the rear screws that are back here, slide the seat all the way forward just to make your life a little bit easier. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention, this will make your life a lot easier getting these little plastic clips in. This piece can slide out on this like that, and it should look like that. That's how you want it to look in order to insert it. And then once you've inserted it, you just press on that center in order to spread it, and it'll hold it in place. Because otherwise you're gonna have a very difficult time getting those to go in there. So yeah, make sure that center is pulled out, and you can just slide it in. That's what it looks like up close. Okay. Alright, so when you get it all put back together, you get something that looks like this. I think it looks pretty good. Nice change from the original stock shifter and the old one that the other owner had put on. The boot looks definitely nicer, and I think the shifting knob goes really nice. So there you go, there you have it.